guys ever notice when heel wrestlers come out to the ring, they have to chew gum obnoxiously? The fucking... it's something I've noticed. Very random. AEW Full Gear, man. Unfortunately, the show is not within a 3-hour driving distance, because had it been, me and my buddy Alex would have saved up our Chuck E. Cheese tokens and been right in that bitch. But it's not. And we got the people, oh, AEW sucks. And, well, why don't you go ask your mom if she loves you, because it's highly unlikely. Let's talk about this, man. We got a lot of matches on this card. We got some women's matches. We have some street fights. Again, don't understand. A street fight in a Falls Count Anywhere. Outside of the Falls Count Anywhere, a street fight. No DQ. No holds barred. All of them are the same exact thing. Anyways, AEW Full Gear preview and predictions. We're all excited for this one. You are too. And remember, your mom doesn't love you. Stay right here. And we're just trying to parallel park. And if you're like me, you don't do that. I would pay for a parking garage before I even attempted to parallel park in New York City. You get the fucking asshole walking his dog, trying to get through. You got the guy behind you honking in a Honda. You got the garbage truck in front of you. You can't see shit. And that's New York City for you. So on and so forth. We're talking about Full Gear. 10 matches on this card. More matches than I actually anticipated. I thought there was about 6 or 7 off the jump. Obviously, there's matches that get added last minute. This filming and recording is being uploaded, hopefully, prior to Rampage tonight. Definitely prior to Full Gear, but prior to Rampage. What that means is that it's unlikely on their very last show. The card is subject to change after what I am speaking to you. An additional competitor, and when I look at it, I don't really see any match on this card that could be altered. Maybe a stipulation's added, but they already have 2 no disqualification matches. I don't really see anything adjusting from Rampage. I don't read spoilers. I know some of you do. But let's get into the card here, man. I guess we'll start from chronological match order. I could maybe see the match going this way. We first get started with the pre-show. Now, for most WWE shows, nobody watches the pre-show. For the buy-in, it's something that you could watch and could be decent, but again, the pre-show and all of that is not something that somebody rushes to watch. The pre-show match is Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa. Now, that could be a good match. I think Jamie Hayter's pretty good. Nyla Rose was not a fan of it first. She's okay. Hikaru Shida is there. She has 50 wins, but it's just like, ever since she dropped the women's title, nobody really cares. And Thunder Rosa is a gift from God, and she really needs a push soon, assuming that she sticks around with AEW. She also followed me on Twitter, so to that, sweetheart. You're great. Who wins this match? I mean, why not Shida and Thunder Rosa? Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter are a good team, but what do they need? Again, this is not a match I'm going to preview in depth because it's just a match they threw on the card to get a little bit more involved. But I'll go with Shida and Thunder Rosa to win. I think they're a better team. Jamie Hayter's great. Nyla Rose is all right. Now, they say it's only one buy-in match, but this is another match where if this is done right, this match, again, and take my word for it, there's a lot of matches on this card that will probably be very good. But do not underestimate this tag team match of Pac and Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black and Andrade. We already seen what Andrade could do. We already seen what Pac can do. Cody Rhodes is clearly capable of, whether you like him or not, he's clearly capable of stepping up in a big moment. And Malachi Black has been nothing short of just a phenomenal sensation since he's been on AEW, which makes this match a little bit hard to predict. You got to go with Black and Idolo. That's just the better team. Pac is great. Rhodes is great. But again, Cody Rhodes is one of those guys where he'll just keep losing. And people may lose interest in Cody Rhodes. But for what it's worth, I was a big Cody guy at first, and then it kind of fell on me. You know, he's great in the ring. He's great when he produces. He'll cut these great singular promos, but I don't feel like his feuds have very good build to them. The feud he had with Dustin early was fantastic. I believe that was about 2 or 3 months before they started weekly television. I thought that was fantastic. But I'll go with Black and Idolo to win. The street fight, now again, there's a street fight and a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, they're labeling this a Minneapolis street fight, so I'm assuming Minneapolis, I don't know what the weather's supposed to look like tomorrow night. Probably cold. Minnesota is frigid during the winter, even though we're on the brink of winter, but we're not quite there yet. Minneapolis street fight. So I'm assuming Minnesota's going to have some type of involvement. Do they brawl outside the Target Center? Is Mike Zimmer or Kirk Cousins? I doubt it. Dalvin Cook? Well, they got a game the next day, so never mind. What kind of impact is Minnesota going to have? Or is this just a balls-to-the-wall street fight that brawls into the back arena? You're not calling it a street fight. You're calling it a Minneapolis street fight. Is the twin... Like, what... Something that's significant to Minnesota has to be involved in this match. You had the Jaguars brawl, right? What's his name? Urban Meyer was standing there. Jacksonville, helmet football. I just don't know. I'm trying to think, why would the Vikings have any type of involvement if they have a game the next afternoon? Less than 12 hours after the match, they got a game. So I don't think they have time for skits. They might. It's cold as shit. I don't know if they would go the balls. I don't know what kind of, if there's a river by Minnesota. Minneapolis street fight. I don't really know what you expect from it. You got the inner circle versus top team. Now, in all honesty, the top team has kind of been dominating this feud. You had Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert's great. I'd kiss him on the forehead if he was in front of me. It's hard to pick a winner here. I feel like Inner Circle should be the one to win this match. Just more star power. As great as Top Team is, some people hate him. Top Team is fantastic, but Inner Circle should get the win. I think the Top Team has had more of a build towards the match. This will be a great match, and I'm looking forward to all these guys because, again, they're all fantastic. This feud was built fantastically, and there should be a lot of fun things involved in this street fight. But I'll go with the Inner Circle. Falls count anywhere, which is no different than a street fight. It's just you can pin him anywhere. Christian Cage and Jurassic Express versus Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Again, another match where you have a match filled with guys that are talented across the board. Falls count anywhere. We may see this result in the concession stand. Again, it's going to be very similar to the street fight. But again, now that you say it, the street fight, unless it ends in a no decision, it's going to end up being pinned in the ring. So I just expect a lot of crazy shit from the street fight, maybe in the concession, maybe into the crowd, but now that I think about it, I don't really see it involved too much in, outside of the arena, because at the end of the day, unless it's a no decision, the pinfall has to be inside the ring, so I would put that more towards the falls count anywhere, even though the Inner Circle and Top Team, based on how it's been going and how everyone in that match is, it would be more suitable to see them in a falls count anywhere match. Where Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks is going to be great. Jurassic Express, that'll be a great match. Who wins this match? I want to see somebody's predictions because this is a hard one for me to predict. I want to get a basis of what everybody else thinks. I don't care about that. I want to get an idea of where people stand. The fuck? I want to get an idea of where people stand on this. And of course I can't do it on this page. Gotta love it. Because I don't think Christian Cage and Jurassic Express should win. What was I about to look up? Aew Full Gear preview and predictions. I just want to see somebody else's predictions so I can kind of make mine make sense. All the other matches, I'll do my own prediction, but I just want to get an idea here of kind of what we're working on. And of course, there's a 38-page essay here going into this. Bryan and Miro, Punk and Kingston, Darby Allin and MJF. So yeah, the same preview here as Cole and the Young Bucks winning. They're clearly the superior team by all leaps and bounds. It's not even close. Jurassic Express is great. I love him. Christian is good. He's just kind of there. He's just hanging out right now. But Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, like, you can't, there's no comparison there. And I want to see them win because I fucking love that team. I'll go with the Young Bucks and Adam Cole to win that. Darby Allin and MJF. MJF and Darby Allin have a nice little feud going. I'm a fan of MJF on the mic, but just sometimes it just feels like his promos are all the same. He screams and yells. He yells things at the crowd. He talks shit, and don't get me anything short. He is nothing short but sensational on the microphone, no question. Darby Allin's great. This should be a fairly good match. I don't expect it to go that long, but I think Darby Allin will get the win. because MJF doesn't win or he screws to win. And you have Sting, which MJF might have some interference, some cheating going on, and I think Sting will stop that. So I'll go with Darby Allin. Tag team titles, Lucha Bros and FTR. I was such a big fan of the Revival when they were in NXT, and I was hyped for them to come to AEW. And although they've been okay, I can't sit here and say I'm the biggest FTR fan. A lot of people say they're boring, and it's kind of true. I don't... They're not terrible, but they're one of the tag teams that are lesser of exciting for me, although they're great at what they do. And I'm sure the Lucha Bros bring out the great in everybody. Lucha Bros will take an average tag team, and I'm not saying FTR's average, but the Lucha Bros will take an average tag team and elevate them to places they've never been. They just won the titles last month, or a few months ago, I'm sorry, September. There's no reason for them to drop him now. Lucha Bros win, could be a great match. AEW Women's Championship, I speak for everybody. Tay Conti's beautiful, we love her, and she'll do great. But she's not going to be the one to dethrone Britt Baker. Looking forward to this match. Again, I love Tay Conti. We've had a feud back and forth. It's been great. Britt Baker is going to drop that title sometime in the next couple months. But it's not to Tay Conti. I think Tay Conti puts up a valiant effort, but she comes up short. CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, I hear different people say different things. Now, if this was a couple of months down the line, I would sit and tell you Eddie Kingston should win this match. And maybe he should. I think AEW's going the right way with CM Punk. You start him off with something small. Now we elevate him. He's going to opponents. We know the inevitable is the match with Omega or Bryan or anybody. But at the same time, we want CM Punk to look good and still win for a while before he drops his first loss, but have a credible opponent. And Eddie Kingston is that guy. If you weren't sold on this match, when it first was being built. Obviously, we knew when CM Punk called out Eddie for not being on Dynamite, called him out to Rampage, and they just had a promo of the year candidate. I mean, Eddie Kingston and CM Punk holds his own, but man, Eddie Kingston ripped him. And they started brawling. Build on a short leash, great feud. Punk versus Kingston, I think what happens is Kingston gives everything he has. And this is a brutal match, but Punk still remains undefeated. And I think they hug after the match and they earn each other's respect. But I'll go with CM Punk to win. Championship final. Now here's the problem with this. This is a great match. I'm sure it will be. Here's the problem with the tournament finals. And I'm going to explain this in a second. The problem with the tournament finals is this. Assuming that Hangman wins his match and becomes champion, let's assume that the favorite Bryan wins, which then would result in presumably a feud between Danielson and Page. Are you going to have Danielson lose? Or do you want Danielson to win? Because I think that this tournament finals should have been a little bit later down the line, because I think it should result in a Bryan Danielson title win. I think it's been coming for a while. I don't see AEW giving the title to Hangman and then immediately dropping it to Danielson. I also don't see Omega retaining. So you would think Miro should win, fight Hangman, and lose. But in all honesty, I have Danielson winning. But then what? Because the two are connected together. Danielson wins this, and that's what gets us to our main event, presumably. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Hangman was out for a while. He came back. Kenny Omega's had a long world title run. All respect. Best wrestler in the world. But in all honesty, I think it's time he drops the title, and I think we're all presumably thinking Hangman Page wins. So Hangman Page wins the title. Bryan wins the tournament. Do we automatically jump into a Bryan Page feud that builds until Revolution? Do we really build it out that far? Or do we have a match? See, because the thing is, they protected Bryan against Omega. That match was fantastic. I saw it in person. They protected Bryan against Omega. And they protected Omega against Bryan. But if you did that for that, see, this is not an issue if Omega retains the championship. But I don't see that happening. I see Hangman winning. And I also don't see Miro winning. I think Miro, if he's undefeated, will be his first loss. I think that this tournament finals will build Daniel Bryan to be that good. Miro will kick the shit out of him the whole match. Danielson will do what it takes, get the label lock locked in, and make Miro tap. And it will make Danielson look like a monster. And then Hangman wins the title. Now, AEW is more of a brand where they don't really like to drop titles like that. And it makes sense. Now, once in a while, you could have a title switch. You could have it flip-flop back and forth. But WWE has made a habit of that. And that's what you don't want. Especially with the world title. I think it would be a slap in the face for Hangman to win the title and then lose to Bryan. But I don't think Bryan should lose to anybody. I really don't. Bryan, when given a title shot, should win the championship. Do they have Bryan and Page in a couple of weeks? And Page wins, and then they have a best of 3 going on where Bryan wins the second. Then they have a winner-take-all at Revolution. Because, again, you look at all these guys who've been built so great in AEW. At some point, these guys are going to have to lose. Miro's going to have to lose. Danielson's going to have to lose. CM Punk's going to have to lose. You know, Britt Baker's going to have to be pinned clean. Adam Cole, if he has lost yet. I don't know if Adam Cole has lost yet. He's going to have to lose. Malachi Black's going to have to lose. So AEW's done a fantastic job of keeping all these guys relevant, giving them the right opponents. I think AEW's done a phenomenal job of card structuring. But we have to realize that all of these guys are going to lose at some point. And after that, it's okay. But it's the first loss you want to be right. Now, for all we know, Pac and Cody Rhodes could win their match, but that's a tag team match. That doesn't count as a singles loss. And besides, if they were to lose, Andrade is eating that pin. And vice versa, probably be Pac because Cody Rhodes is starting to lose his spark. Cody Rhodes comes out to the ring, this great theme song, his hot wife. He has these great fireworks, and then he goes in the ring and he loses. He has a great match, but he loses. So that's just my thing with that. These guys are going to lose at one point. Omega has lost a match, but Omega's been great. He hasn't really lost either. So Omega loses to Page. Omega's still phenomenal. That's fine. The tournament finals and the world title one, the tournament finals and the world title is the mess. Because the world title is the main event. I don't see Miro winning. I really don't. I think this is a great match. I see Bryan winning. But then it's, where do you go from there? If you have Omega retained, you have the Bryan and Omega second match of the saga, which should result in Bryan winning, and then the third match would result in him retaining, which is fine, but it's Hangman Page's time, and that's what you're going to go with. Bryan Danielson wins the tournament finals. Hangman Page wins the world title. Where do they go after that? Your guess is as good as mine. This has been your AEW Full Gear preview and predictions. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe.